Welcome, welcome, welcome to the UpKeep Pledge Pros Podcast, a podcast dedicated to unmatched value and unwavering support for our community and our customers. Today, we have a very, very, very long time UpKeep partner, friend, and industry professional. We have Ahmed, who is a freelance global business lubrication consultant, and he is the absolute man. He's been with us a long time. I get to talk to him all the time, and I'm sure you've seen him in our socials. He does a lot of stuff for Upkeep. So, Ahmed, welcome.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you for having me here. It's my pleasure, and all my services are always available for upkeep.
Awesome.
Um,
We couldn't be more satisfied with the partnership that we've built together. I know Ryan himself has spoke very highly of you. I've had the pleasure of sitting down with you and talking about the Upkeep community, the moderation that you do for us, and making sure that our content is equal in both the community and out in the world. Um, but before we get into all of those things, Ahmed, I know you have 43 years of lubrication excellence experience from business consulting to lubrication reliability consulting in 15 countries around the world. I know you worked for large companies like Mobil and Chevron and all those places. So take us back to the beginning. Where did Ahmed start in this 43 years of the industry, and then bring us to where you are today?
mm, it's a long story, but I'll make it very short because it's the 43 years I have to cover.
Yeah, yeah.
I actually started from Pakistan. I worked for Chevron, or that time it was called Caltex.
Hmm,
Then I got a scholarship. I went to Romania and did my master's in petroleum refining and petrochemicals. The
nice.
most interesting part about that engineering degree, it was in Romanian, and I have to learn Romanian. I still speak very fluent Romanian. As
Nice.
a matter of fact, my wife says I speak Romanian from the bottom of my heart. I love that.
Awesome.
So that's the way I got my education. There is a long courses, 6, 7 years. Once I finished back, I was lucky to get a job in a cement factory
Oh, cool.
instead of lubricants. Interesting.
Yeah.
Just I want, and there I really got hands-on experience of all the equipments, all the maintenance, all those stuff. Like as you know, in cement plant, there are gears, there are bearings, there are crushers, there are kiln, high temperature, low temperature, you name it. I mean, compressors, transformers. So that was a very good experience.
Right.
And luckily, they put me back in Romania. I was the one to inspect the machinery, check them, and say okay, and then it was shipped.
Cool.
So it was a very interesting job. I learned a lot. But once I am back in Pakistan, I switched over to my passion. And luckily, I got a good job in Caltex. It was Chevron was that time called Caltex Oil Pakistan. So there I started my journey. And from there, no looking back from the lubricant side. I worked about 3, 4 years in Pakistan. Then I got a good opportunity in Middle East. So
Nice.
I started working for ExxonMobil brand. There I had a very good exposure. I was responsible for the entire Middle East tech service. And here also I got a very good exposure on U.S. Navy SEAL commands. I used to go to U.S. Navy ships and do the technical support to them.
Awesome. So Navsea.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
Awesome.
I, yeah, and as you know, these ships are big, so they used to come in open seas. So I used to go all alone in one of those speedboats, at times turbulence and all.
That's
And
awesome.
I enjoyed that. I mean, as a matter of fact, there was a period when all those chief engineers and captain of the U.S. Navy used to know me. Oh, if Ahmad coming, no issue, because used to be a security check. I was in Middle East at the time,
Yeah.
so that I learned a lot. And then from there, I went to Chevron again in Dubai. So, Dubai, I stayed about 17 years working for these two companies. Here, I got an exposure because from Dubai, we were controlling all those Middle East countries like mm, Bahrain, Qatar, Oman, Saudi Arabia. So, it was a good exposure.
Right.
Then, Then the Chevron started their operation in Saudi Arabia, and they wanted some experienced people. So I was moved there to Saudi Arabia, where I started their business and all. I was part of that thing.
Got it.
There also, it was a good exposure. And then finally, after all those things and all, I went to Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka, there was a blending plant, lubricants blending plant they were supposed to put. So I was made a project director.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and I started from the grassroots. I mean, like just from the surveying to the final commissioning. After that, then everyone at my family, because I was mostly away, and my family. I've got three daughters, by the way. They're grown up, all married, settled. But they said enough enough. Father, I mean, in our language, they call me Abu. So it sounds more close. So Abu, it's enough is enough. Now you have to stay. So I came back to Canada, where my whole family was living. And from here, from last 6 7 years, I'm doing the freelance consultancy.
Nice.
Yeah, because this lubrication or lubricants part is in my blood.
Right.
As some of my colleagues say, God forbid, if I have a cut or something, instead of blood flowing, lubricant start flowing.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
some engine oil, some hydraulic oil. But
yeah,
I love it. So
yeah,
that's what I'm doing, and I love my passion. And the good part about this thing is I came introduced with upkeep here. That's
yeah.
another, yeah,
I think it's great. We often say in reliability that, from a perspective of like technology, lubricant analysis and lubricant understanding is like a pinnacle of machine design, machine longevity, right? And merely leveraging the expertise of professionals like yourself and understanding how lubricants interact and work within machines and their constraints and all these things is extremely valuable and it's often overlooked. I mean, as well as we talk to Sonia and
yeah,
Rich and all of our friends, and it's super common. That grease gun's got
yeah.
grease in it, pump it in the bearing, whatever.
How much more you can pump it?
Yeah, hydraulic oil is hydraulic oil. It's all the same, right?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, it's crazy and all that experience and particularly the multicultural experience, right? Being able to be in the Middle East, to conduct yourself in a way in which you're providing value for that culture and the way that they do things, right? Because it is different sometimes. And then Canada, and then you have US customers like, all over the place, which is extremely awesome. Um, what would you say your most memorable? I'm going to pick your brain for a second, then we'll get into the upkeep stuff. What would you say your most memorable interaction with a poorly run lubrication process was? Like, what was the worst thing you had to come in and get figured out?
Firstly, as you said, mostly people think oil is oil. You put the oil, it should work if there is oil. But it happened, and it happened. I mean, like as you know, in Middle East, the temperatures are very high. I
Yeah.
mean, 50 degrees Celsius it can go. So when I went to one of these companies who were using this gensets and all. They were big gensets because this was in a desert, I mean, place where they were doing some construction. So I was shocked to see they were using an oil which was not no, I should not say good quality, not with the relevant specs.
Right.
And that was a huge company. And they were always complaining, we have the oil is wrong, a problem, we have to change so quickly, our machines and all. So when I look at those specs, I said, "Oh my God!" I said. So in fact, I guided them first in how to select an oil. That's my
Right.
specialty. Don't select like if any supplier says that there's a good oil or the best oil. No,
Right.
there are certain standards. Firstly, you should look at what is the OEM saying. If this is, let's say, Cummins machines or Mac machines or
Yeah.
Ingersoll, so as you all know, like heavy duty, all those things, Komatsu or
That's my land. That's where I live, Ahmed.
Caterpillar and all those mining. So I told them, look, don't go by anyone, just select it. What say OEMs? It's written there. Look, you use some OEMs write the specs. I mean the name of the brand.
Yeah.
Use uh, Chevron, use ExxonMobil, or use others, but some give specs. Like Caterpillar doesn't give the name. I mean the brand. They just give the specs.
Yeah, the
And
CKT or whatever number or
no,
whatever.
it's called CK4.
CK4. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's called CK4. So what happens is they were shocked. I said, so much in the oil. Oh, we just use weight 40 or we use multigrade. If you're
Yeah.
more modern or advanced, the concept came multigrade. I said, look, multigrade is good, but what multigrade? Each and everything is showing what oil has to be used, what specs, and most important, the temperature range. The same oil what you're using in America, you cannot use um, in Saudi Arabia or in those conditions. So you have to moderate, select those band of viscosity as we call it, 15W, 40, 10W,
Yeah.
30, all those. So they were shocked. And then I said, this one part, but when you have to go put the oil, you keep monitoring it like you monitor your blood. I mean, you go to your doctor every 1 year, you have a physical, all those things. So it's very important. And you won't believe it. They did a saving a lot
Yeah.
within very short time. I said, oh, it's a different world.
Yeah.
So,
It's
but it was difficult to convince them initially. They said, no, we oil is oil.
yeah,
Sorry,
that's
please.
tough.
So that was one of the, I mean, not was, but difficult to convince those guys. I mean, that you
Right.
have to spend,
And
spend.
genset,
I mean,
sorry, go
please,
ahead. Go ahead.
you have to select the right specification.
Right. And gensets are, I mean, I'm assuming these are probably 1, 2 meg gensets, big.
Oh, they are big.
Yeah.
And they consume quite a lot. I mean, and
Yes.
you have to change the oil like Caterpillar says every 10 days, like those have 250 hours like that. So
Yeah.
huge consumption.
Yes. And, you know, just keeping diesel engines in perspective is, there's been this common understanding, even in my realm of, heavy equipment mining, is that diesel engines get 1540. That's what they get. There's this misconception. Now, granted, there are a lot of machines that take 1540, right? But there's also a lot of machines that take 5W30 and 10W30, but they're still diesels. There's some that take straight 30 weight or
Yeah.
straight, 89. Like that's it's dependent, right? It's not, I have a diesel engine, so it gets 1540. Now, my next question is this. What engine viscosities did you end up going out in the desert? Was it like a straight weight, like a straight 30, straight 40?
No, firstly, there was no straight oil. I mean, there was mostly 15W40 in the diesel engine side.
Okay,
But I'll correct, I mean, I should not say I correct you, but there is more important thing. There is a general misconception. I select the oil 15W40 because of the weather conditions or
sure,
20W15 gasoline. But this is only the viscosity grade.
sure.
It's not the quality.
That's right.
Quality you
It's
come with
not,
the API.
yeah, it's not the
CK4,
additives, it's not
yeah,
any of
yes.
that. Well, what I was getting at is that the misconception is when people hear the word diesel engine, they automatically think 1540.
Yeah.
But
That's wrong.
the reality is there's so many different viscosity grades that you can run that are going to do the same thing dependent on the environment, right? And then the next level is dependent on your additive packages, the quality, the
Yeah.
grades, whatever. The stuff you know about that I don't.
Yeah. So
Uh,
no, actually, what happens is, for example, here nowadays with this weather, 10W30 is more. I mean,
yeah.
the requirement.
Yes.
But in like if you go in gasoline, it goes to 0W20, 0W16. So it's
Yeah.
according to the temperature requirement, and like we have in, well, 2 days back it was -23 here. Feel like so it's you have to
Yeah. And
handle.
talking about, and I'm just sticking with this because me, I love equipment. And, there are some machines that rely on oil pressure to determine in cold weather to determine fuel rack positioning so that machines can be started in cold weather. I think they advance the fuel timing or something, right? And they literally have oil thermostats in them so that when the oil at cold temperature is a certain viscosity, it's going to be a higher pressure, right? So it is able to adjust the fuel timing based on the engine being cold. And then once the engine warms up, the lubricant gets down to its operating viscosity, and then the timing is then changed again. So fuel, I mean, lubricant specification is not just affecting one thing, right? It's affecting tens of things, or could be potentially affecting tens of things. Like my I have a couple, big service trucks, diesel engine service trucks. In the wintertime, I run 5W40. In the
Right.
summertime, I run 1540,
Yeah.
you know? So pretty
He-
cool.
Yeah. Here, actually, a very interesting thing comes, which I want to clarify to you. You said oil is, people think oil is thick in the when it's in the cold starting, it's very thick, and when it's at high temperature, it goes very, I mean, thin, or it starts flowing. There's a one property in a lubricant, it's called viscosity index.
Hmm.
Viscosity index, in simple word, is the rate of change of viscosity with temperature.
Right.
So these multigrades have property, their viscosity doesn't change with temperature much. It changes because it's natural, but it is in a certain band which is allowable for that machine.
Yeah.
So if when we are picking this diesel engine oil, you have to look at VI index. What's the VI there in the? It
Right.
should be higher the better. So the fluctuation is the less.
Right.
As you, as you said, there's so many things in the you touch one and I'll start.
Yeah. No, it's true. And that's just goes back to the whole point, which is there's so much at play. And we can't just make those assumptions that,
Yeah,
oh, I've been running 1540 in this thing for 25 years, whether
right.
it's negative 10 degrees outside or 120 degrees outside, all of that can have a positive or adverse effect depending on the application, which is crazy, right? I mean, it's just there's just so much there. We always go down rabbit holes when we talk about lubricant because it's such a broad spectrum and it applies to damn near everything.
Actually, nowadays I'm more involved with the additive side. In fact, I'm doing a good consultancy to one of the companies because additive, as you know, lubricant is made of base oil and additive.
Hmm.
So it's roughly base oil starts from 75 to 99%, and the additive from, let's say, 1% to. So that makes the quality of the oil, and base oil also, both are very important.
Yeah.
So it's there. I mean,
The run-ins that I've had with additives that were somewhat meaningful were when I was 16 or 17. I was building a 4.7 liter stroker engine for my Jeep, and I had to convert it to a flat tappet cam and lifter assembly. And I had read that modern engine oils have lower rates of zinc and phosphorus because of the zinc and phosphorus. If it gets burned, it can destroy catalytic converters and emission systems. So they reduce the amount in some of the engine oils. And correct me if I'm wrong. I had to actually, but for flat tappet engines, it's better to have more zinc and phosphorus for that load zone between the camshaft and the lifter. So I actually ended up going out and finding a different type of oil with a different additive package that had higher zinc and phosphorus to accommodate for the spring pressures and the lifter and cam contact zones in there. Does that make sense?
yeah. What actually what happens now, depending upon the make of the engine or the model. Like for example, Detroit diesel. In some of the engines, they say use zinc-free oil.
Hmm.
Totally zinc-free oil. So that, I mean, because each of the component of the additive has an effect on your equipment.
Sure.
So you have to look into what is the requirement of that.
Right.
So, so that's why if someone asks me, can I put this oil, this is engine oil. I said, hold on, hold on. You cannot put any, no, no, it looks good. It's thick and its color is good. It's bright yellow. I like that. So no,
Yeah.
no, what oil is it? So that's what with us, it's we have to go deep. We cannot just analyze the oil as oil or like that. There's so much going on in this world nowadays, like every subject and topic. So it's very interesting. I actually sum up my what's called the consultancy part or my lubrication part is these nowadays you cannot do everything.
Sure.
Like you have your earth moving equipment, you have bulldozers, you can, but when it comes to lubrication side, you or reliability side, you should give to leave it to the experts.
Sure.
Give them a little, weightage, or give them a chance to look into it, and you concentrate on your work. You keep your business going, renting, and all those things, what you're doing. But let them handle the machinery.
Right.
And during that, they will train you, guide you, and that's so it's a professional world nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not like Jack for all thing.
Yeah.
If you talk to me, if I say lubrication, oh, you are expert in additive. What additive? Zinc-free additive or
Yeah.
whatever? HDO, what's called PCMO. So it's a very deep technology
Yeah.
nowadays. So it's good. Like I coming to CMMS, same thing. I mean, I always promote leave it to professionals. I mean,
Yeah.
let them train you, like guide them, and be there.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. I just
No, it's
maybe.
okay. No, it's true, right? And that specific example was me being 16, 17 years old and Googling what everyone else said on forums, you know what I mean? I didn't know any better at that age. I had read something. I said, "Look, I just spent all my time and money building this engine. I want to put the right stuff in it so that I don't destroy it." And that was the recommendation from not professionals. Fortunately, I did use that oil, and that engine is still in my shop, runs to this day. So I something was right there. Um, but yeah, you're right, right? I mean, we all have a niche. Well, there's all things that we kind of understand, and we can put the pictures together for that person or that business. And taking that specific expertise that we have and applying it to the broader business, right? So that's super important. All right, let's switch gears. So,
Please.
Ahmed, you have been helping Upkeep tremendously with the community, the Slack community. And I know that you were one of the very first people, along with me, in the Slack community back in like what, 2019 or 2020?
2020 actually. I got involved in 2020. It just was beginning. I think we were first of the few
Yeah.
of the members, or uh, and it was real excitement for me. I mean,
Yeah.
like,
It was very, very Caitlin had set that up.
exactly.
Yeah, and I remember doing webinars on there, and there was always webinars, always people talking.
Sometimes,
5,000 people, I think.
yeah, 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 and every day, and then twice, sometimes twice a day was a webinar.
Yeah.
I still remember I've attended so many of yours. I mean, oh,
Yeah,
today's
yeah.
Brian.
I think I did four or five of
Yeah.
them. Um, but yeah, I mean that's the that was a very strategic time to set something like that up because it was during COVID. People were stuck at home. There was limited access to industry. Trade shows were canceled. All that stuff. So this was kind of like a bridging factor to keep people connected in the industry that we love and that we're a part of. Um, and like nowadays, it's changed a bit, right? Because the more popular avenues of interacting with industry are back. But that's not to say that we're not trying to keep it, aligned with what we're doing. And that's where you come in, right? You've helped us tremendously keep the standard set between social stuff and the community itself. And I'm hoping one of these days we'll be able to get back into the community and really bring it back to its former self. And we're talking about a lot of those things. So there's more to come on those. But so for you, Ahmed, how has it been from where we started with the maintenance community back when you and I were in there and thousands of people were in there every
Yeah.
single day, um, to where it kind of dropped off, or after COVID kind of let up, it kind of tapered off. You know what I mean? What do you think about that? Like, where do you think we can go with it?
Yeah, that's true. Actually, during the COVID time, everyone was at home, was not having access to any platform which is a professional. Everyone was hungry to see people or to interact. And that was the right time when Upkeep thought and gave this idea, and especially founder and CEO, so Ryan Chan, he gave a free hand to all the colleagues to come up with these ideas. and it picked up. Everyone was keen, but what's happening is some people think, I mean, I don't believe in it, that these webinars or these Zooms and all these were COVID things, COVID period era. I mean, now we are back. I can go and meet Brian. I can go and meet my customer. I can go and meet my supplier. Why this, this
Right.
thing, or why this thing? So, but coming to this, like Slack group or this community thing is, there has to be a platform where you can talk with your people, the professional people, because like, I'll tell you myself, there are so many things I am, I firstly I don't know something, and sometimes it's not clear to me.
Sure.
Instead of going googling or ask outside, you're shy. I mean, you don't. Here is the platform. You have experts. You are reliability people. You have electrical expert. You name it. You know, IT expert. You just have to pitch the question, and then it goes so many tuck, 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 tuck. So I feel that this thing is very good, because when you're talking on this community or like Slack group, you don't feel shy. In fact, I promote that ask anything. I mean, I said even you can ask
Yeah.
how to take food or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, that's, I mean, it's a joking, but it's a basic thing. I think this will go. Frankly speaking, I'm thinking some ideas about it, which I'll share you some other time.
Yeah. Please.
How to make it more effective? You know,
Yes.
it's. I agree. It's slowing down. It's people are losing interest, or they think it's not the right thing to do nowadays.
Mhm.
But there are some ways and some I mean benefits of it, or big benefits.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I agree. And
Really.
we still do. I know you attend a lot of them. We still do webinars,
Yes. Yeah.
and I think a lot of that could shift back towards the community. Some, or at least some of it could be, or maybe we don't have to talk about your ideas on now because we might have some copycats listening to this. You know what I mean? In the future, we get Upkeep gets copied for like everything.
Yes. I know.
If you follow other CMMS companies, we are the
Yeah.
pinnacle in creating everybody else's content. But yeah, we can definitely talk about that. But I think you're right. It's not gone. It's still a thing. Um, and as you know, we still get 700 people coming to the webinars we do put on,
Yeah.
and a lot of them are not in the U.S. You know what I mean? And that tells you something. That tells you that there's this whole other portion of our industry that can't really do what we do here in the US and Canada, but they want to be a part of it. And community could be still a big potential for that hunger that's all over the globe.
Uh, I think that's a very good point. I believe that professional work or our community work is should not have the geographical boundaries.
Right.
When I was in Middle East, I used to think, how can I once in my life I go to US or I go to Europe and I learn this thing, or I see, I mean, get this thing, but that was not possible. Every now and then you couldn't travel. But now sitting here, I know Fania Mathura is there. I can call her. My
Yeah.
friend Bob Latino, I can give him a shout and he
Yes.
comes back fast. I know where to get things. I can put on our Slack group. I can talk to you. I talk with everyone is available and helping.
Right.
So there is potential to that we'll take offline better.
Yeah. We
As
will.
you
We
said,
will.
so many people are watching to us.
Yes. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
one thing good I'll tell you, this Upkeep platform has given me personally a big edge. Um, you won't believe it. Every day my followers are increasing. I've
Good.
got now 3,150 followers, or maybe 160 today. So,
Yeah.
but one thing important, I think, coming to community, I believe that like the senior, not senior, I should say, the more experienced people, it's time for us to give back to the community what community has given us. This is my
Yeah.
one of the major mission or logo. I say what everybody put. Whatever community has given me back, it's not my own personal property. Should put it
Sure.
in my bag and sleep or retire. No, I should give it to you. I give it to youngsters.
Yeah.
I can tell them so many things verbally, which even they cannot Google or find in hundreds of books. They will not get the satisfaction.
Sure.
So it's this what exactly these our upkeep community is doing, that we are trying to help those guys who are hunger for knowledge,
Right.
uh, and the right knowledge, not the knowledge only or misguided.
Yeah.
So I feel this is a good platform, and as you said, we have to be very careful how to handle it so no it doesn't get copycat multiplied. Like
Yeah, yeah. Well, for me, a big part of the reason I'm with Upkeep is because I'm given the the um the freedom to educate, right? My that is my passion is education of industry, of maintenance, of reliability,
yeah,
and I'm not saying that I know everything, but I am saying that I am an evangelist for this, and that there's no bigger fan of mechanics and technicians and people doing the work and turning the wrenches and leading the teams and providing the value and doing the right things than me. Um, and that's what Upkeep affords me. Upkeep gives me the opportunity to connect people to the value, to connect people to their business, to their mate. Like after this, I'm consulting with some of our customers right after our call, to talk and try to get the absolute most value for their business. Upkeep aside, just value in
yeah,
general, right?
exactly.
Business value, anything, right? There's also a good point, saying you had mentioned about I can tell you things that you can't Google, right? And
Mhm.
that's because it's experience based. And that's where the missing mark with so many people that just do all this talking and have actually never even done the work.
Yeah.
And that is so frustrating to see. You have all these other, I'll just use CMMS for an example. All these other CMMS companies that jumped on the bandwagon, they're talking about downtime and reliability and manufacturing. It's like, you've never done any of that.
Yeah.
You're talking about things you've never done. And it's tough to listen to sometimes.
Yeah.
Um,
Very tough.
but like you and like all of our friends, all the ambassadors, all
Yeah.
these people do the work every single day they've done it. They're not just talking about it, they're doing it. And because they've done it and they've essentially mastered it, they have the privilege of talking about it. And the things that they say, we need to close our mouths and open our ears, right? Because, like you, they have that time, they have that experience, they've done those things, they've applied the knowledge. And an application of knowledge is completely different than being able to spout off words and definitions and stuff like that. Completely different.
As a matter of fact, just to add on, talking of geographical boundaries, you'll be happy or surprised since I joined my Upkeep, or my there is an Upkeep logo on my LinkedIn. I got so many inquiries, or so many people contact me, and mostly they are outside Canada or North America. One
Right.
coming from France, a small town, I don't know, and one coming from someplace in small country in Cambodia, or like you
Yeah.
name it. I'm in China. I was shocked. I said, no, no, we want to do business with you. I said, I am here, time difference 13 hours. Like right now, I'm helping one group, and 13 hours difference. But
Yeah.
I said, I'm available 24 hours. But that's beyond boundary, because people are hungry for the right education, or
Yes.
the sincere, I say. And
Yes.
and one of the most other important thing is the trust, I
Yes.
know if I call Brian, he will give me the best solution. Or if he say, no, I don't know, I'll look for it, I'll guide you where to get it.
Yes.
So that's the trust I'm in.
Yes.
It happens with me. Some people ask me something, oh, you are bringing, you don't know some basic thing. I said, I don't know, I'm sorry, but I'll get you the good, correct answer.
That's
I
right.
don't want to misguide you.
That's right.
So that's the whole theory. And they trust you. And when you give the right thing, they are very happy. I mean,
Yeah. We made it a very important um, strategy for us was exactly that, was industry connection and
yeah,
trust. Because we know all the pros. We work with them. We partner with them.
yeah.
And that builds trust, right? It builds mutual value, and everyone is there to benefit from that. And one last thing about education is like, I view maintenance reliability CMMS education as if we raise the standard or baseline education of what we do, it's more likely that the people who rely on our services, who are being educated, will be able to better utilize our services because they understand it. It's like Ahmed, I'm going to sell you this airplane. You're like, I don't even know how to fly. The airplane's cool, but I don't even know how to fly it. I know it flies, but I don't know how to fly it. It's the same thing with a CMMS. If I give you a CMMS and your business is not fundamentally educated on CMMS excellence, maintenance excellence, the basics, the fundamentals, I already know you're going to lose somewhere in that chain.
Yeah.
But if I educate you, now you're able to apply and understand the tools that I'm giving you, and they're going to be more meaningful for you in the long run. This isn't like a lot of our competitors, which is just spray CMMS everywhere and whatever sticks we get, and then those people, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We want that education that's going to drive the value and the utilization adoption of our system and then further build your business.
Yeah. Yeah, I should. I mean, it's very important to add on the way Upkeep is doing. Like I did the course of that University of Upkeep. I was not more in the reliability, as you know, I was more on the lubrication side, but it's connected. So I want to learn, and I got at it. It took a time. I mean, I did the course and all. So these things, and if you anyone browse our website, I mean, Upkeep website, there's so much thing, and so much details are given. It's very, very, I mean, knowledge, I mean, gaining, and you get the correct answer.
Yeah.
But the things are, I mean, what I feel, as you said, in Upkeep, there is a one basic or main difference is Ryan Chan has given free hand. When you give free hand, you flourish, but it comes with, I mean, responsibility. Then
Yes.
you auto criticize yourself, which is more difficult than anyone else.
Yeah.
Anyone else might leave you or don't know what you're doing, but oh, it's not right deep inside. You have to give the correct answer to this gentleman. He is looking to Upkeep as a
Yeah.
solution provider, not only this thing. And best way is, as you said, guide them. I mean, understand them what let's say I used to say what oil you should use. Don't use my product, don't use particular brand.
Correct.
Decide yours. Decide yourself. So if you have that, but you have to have that knowledge.
Right.
Because another person will come, salesperson, they say, oh, this is that and that. I mean, so many things will come. So I fully agree.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy to be associated with Upkeep and their vision,
Yeah.
and always look forward to different programs coming, the and this flash broadcast plus Ryan Chan, the new products coming up every Friday, and then you're like those. I mean, so many things are there.
Yeah.
I really, I'll tell you frankly, I move around in different, let's say, background people,
Hmm.
age wise also, and cultural wise also.
Yeah. I mean, Ryan is the standard for our core values, right? Which
Yeah,
is first and foremost, and this speaks to the education and free education, which is
yeah.
people over profit. That's our first core value.
That's yeah.
We have grit over prestige, and then we have progress over perfection.
Progress. That's all three are very, very important. And always tell them, and even say, "Oh, this is I got this best deal." I said, "Hold on, there's nothing best in this world."
Yeah,
There's
that's right.
always
Well, it's not best, it's what is creating value for you,
yeah.
right? I mean, I can have uh I can have the Ferrari or McLaren CMMS program, but only know how to drive a Buick.
Mm. Yeah.
So the rest of that is completely useless to me, you know? Um, anyway, this has been amazing, Ahmed. I want to give you the opportunity to plug your company, how people can get in touch with you. Don't put your cell phone number on here. Um, but how can people get a hold of you if they would like to employ your services, if they would like to get your true take on upkeep and how your relationship is, all that. How can we get a hold of you?
Number one, I'm in the Slack group of this community. I'm in our community, and secondly, the best way to contact me is the LinkedIn. That's more professional. In LinkedIn, also I have my Gmail also in contacts. But that's the best way. Uh, I am also available on, let's say, what I call telephone, but you when you get an unknown number, you are reluctant nowadays. There's so many calls
Yeah,
coming.
yeah.
So the best way is the LinkedIn. I'll say it's very professional. Just give me a one line message. Look, I want your some guidance or whatever is the question. I'll come back. I come back quite fast. I try to be, if not 24/7, at least 8 to 10 hours on LinkedIn.
Nice.
You
Cool.
you will be surprised, Brian. Sorry to add on. I went to one of the STLE conference here in Toronto, and I was parking the car, and it was dark, dull night. I mean, I think snowing also. And while I was parking, another guy was coming. I was looking to where to park. Hey, Ahmed! I said, "What? I know you from LinkedIn. You are so extra. You're from UpKeep." I said, "Oh." I
That's
said,
funny.
"That's that. That's a height of my satisfaction."
You're gonna need security, man. You go places.
Yeah, no, no, it's always be good.
That's awesome. Well, that's good, man. I mean, it's good. We are so glad that we've been able to partner, that we've been able to help you. You've helped us tremendously. We can't thank you enough. I have some info I'm going to send to you after our call today, so look out for that. And Ahmed, thank you so much. And on behalf of Upkeep, thank you. We will see you on the next one.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Upkeep. All the best.
You're very welcome. Thank you.